Emily always felt something was off about her family. They were just too different from others. While other fathers disappeared at work and found solace at the bottom of a bottle every evening, her father was cheerful and always coming up with something new. On weekends, he would take Emily and her younger sister Sarah hiking in the Pocono Mountains, drive them to visit Grandma Rose in rural Pennsylvania, whom the girls lovingly called Granny Dear. On regular days, he would drive the girls to their after-school activities and pick them up afterward. "Emily, for God's sake, leave me the hell alone. Why do you keep clinging to me all the damn time?" her mom would snap whenever Emily approached her. "I just missed you. Can we talk?" Emily would smile. "Go play with your sister or something. Just get off my back." Her mom would brush her off. "Sarah, my sunshine, come here. How was your day? Good? Now go play with Emily." And only when Emily was sick would her mom sit by her bed, sadly stroking her head and showing genuine concern. Emily's family didn't socialize with relatives. Sure, there were the obligatory Christmas cards and Thanksgiving calls, but they never had visitors. They didn't keep in touch with any uncles or aunts, and Sarah didn't even learn about the existence of their cousins until she was about 13. When Emily was 16, her father passed away. Granny Dear came to say goodbye to him. For the first time ever, she crossed the threshold of their suburban Philadelphia home. Her mom wasn't too thrilled about it, keeping communication cold and formal. Then they locked themselves in the study and had some heated discussion in hushed voices. Granny Dear came out in tears. Mom red as a damn lobster. That same day, Granny Dear left. "I want to go to college in Boston. It's almost 500 miles away from here in Pennsylvania." Emily shared her plans after graduation. "Whatever, like I give a shit." Her mom shrugged indifferently. "Sarah's applying to Penn State next year. Need to think about SAT prep. So don't count on any help from me. I'll try to get a scholarship." "Yeah, you better." Her mom sneered with venom in her eyes. "Look, Granny Dear left you some money. Said to buy a computer. It's yours. Choose whether you want the computer or keep it for food." Emily bought a laptop with that money, figured it would come in handy for studies. Then she sent photos to Granny Dear through email, but also included a handwritten letter. A tradition they'd kept up since Emily was little. Her grandmother was overjoyed for her granddaughter. "Granny Dear, look at my dorm room at BU. 4 of us will live here. I'm the first one here." Emily started a FaceTime call and gave a whole tour, first the room, then the common area, then the entire floor of Warren Towers. "Oh, how lovely! And the furniture looks nice right away. You even have a bathroom for 4 rooms. Well, would you look at that?" "Yes." "Granny Dear, I'll show you the lecture halls later. I'll send you a video." "Of course, Emily!" Her face crinkled with smile lines, and Emily wished she could hug her grandmother. "Granny Dear, don't forget our letter tradition." And Emily wrote. She carefully crafted each word in her neat handwriting and even drew patterns and pictures in the margins. A practice that seemed old-fashioned to her roommates, but meant the world to both her and Granny Dear. It was Granny Dear who first learned from a letter about Mike, a young man who looked like a football player. Mike was big, with short hair, clever eyes, and a good-natured smile. He was a senior when she was a junior. "Hey, you Emily?" He approached her one day outside the College of Arts and Sciences. "Yeah." She was taken aback, barely reaching his shoulder. "I heard you needed help?" "Yes, I'm moving to another room." Emily smiled, immediately understanding what her friend meant when she promised to send a strong, nice guy. "Got your stuff packed up already?" "All packed, ready to move." Emily smiled again. "Well then, let's go, Thumbelina." Mike smiled back. The guy turned out to be not intimidating at all, but rather a very well-mannered young man, and incredibly strong. He carried Emily's belongings to another floor like they were feathers, and when they were going up for the last time, he picked up Emily along with the box and looking into her eyes declared, "How about I carry you like this every day?" "Every day?" Emily didn't quite get it. "Yeah, till the end of time." "Are you proposing to me?" "And why the hell not?" "But I can't marry you. I lost my driver's license and birth certificate in the move." "No big deal. We can get new ones at the DMV, then we'll file right away. Keep your last name if you want. I'm not one of those traditional guys." Emily stared wide-eyed at this huge man and couldn't tell if he was joking or dead serious, so she just laughed in response. The next day, the young man hauled in a huge mirror. He thought that's exactly what Emily's dorm room was missing. The day after that, a beautiful vase with an enormous bouquet from the florist on Commonwealth Avenue. Then came walks along the Charles River, movies at the AMC in Boston Common, and lots of talking over coffee at Starbucks. Emily, I'm so happy, Granny Dear cried during their weekly FaceTime. Mike is such an interesting young man. Yes, Granny Dear, I've loved him from day one, from the very first minute. Emily's ears turned red at this confession. She had never told anyone about this before. Sweetie, may I have a word with Mike alone? I need to tell him something important. Of course, Granny Dear. Emily was a bit puzzled but still handed Mike her iPhone and left the room. When she returned, Mike looked slightly bewildered. Did something happen? No, Emily. Granny Dear said she won't be able to come to our wedding, asked us to visit her afterward in Pennsylvania. I know that. Did she say anything else? Maybe that you're not good enough for me? Hell no, Mike laughed. Told me to cherish you and protect you from any hardship. And? What do you mean, and? I promised. Mike insisted they drive down to Philadelphia to visit Emily's mom together to invite her to the wedding in person. What the fuck are you doing here? Her mom asked coldly, opening the door of their suburban home. Mom, I'm getting married! Emily squealed joyfully and threw herself at her mother's neck. She hadn't caught the tone of those first words. Well, go ahead like I give a damn, her mom forced out, pulling away, and Emily felt like she'd been doused with ice water. Won't you come to my wedding, you and Sarah? I don't think so, her mom shrugged. By the way, don't count on the house. What house? This one. That's why you came, isn't it? Mom, what are you talking about? Emily was stunned. Don't play dumb. You found out I'm selling the house and decided to grab some cash. Well, know this. It's not gonna happen. This is my house. And you won't get a single cent. Her mom looked at Emily with hatred. Mom, I didn't know about the sale. I don't care what you knew or didn't know. Nothing here belongs to you. It's all mine and Sarah's. Here, take this. Her mom nodded toward a cardboard box. Emily opened it. Inside were photographs, trinkets, and most importantly, 2 of her dad's flannel shirts, her absolute favorites. Mom, why are you pushing me away? I'm your daughter! Get out and don't come back. Leave me and Sarah alone. We're doing just fine without you. Mom. Don't you mom me, her mom snarled, but then softened slightly. Fine. Here's some money. Consider it a wedding gift. The wedding was small, just close friends and Mike's family. Her in-laws welcomed Emily warmly right away, started calling her daughter. If you want, call us Mom and Dad, or if that's uncomfortable, you can use our first names, Carol and Tom, they offered before the wedding. Thanks, but I'll need time to get used to having a dad again, Emily smiled. Of course, sweetie, whatever feels right. Carol was a warm and sociable woman. The young couple lived with Mike's parents in their spacious Newton home. The house was big enough, and the 2 women got along great in the kitchen. Mike and Emily both had jobs in Boston, saving up for their own place, thinking about starting a family. They FaceTimed with Granny Dear often, and every other week Emily would write her letters. She trusted paper with her most intimate thoughts, but lately, her grandmother's handwriting had become shaky, sometimes hard to read. Emily dear, I'm going to a nursing home for some rehab. The reception there is terrible. I'll call when I'm back, Granny Dear said one day. Okay, dear. Is it for 2 or 3 weeks? 2, sweetie. That's how long Medicare covers, Granny Dear laughed. When are you going? Emily asked. Next week. Oh, then we'll see each other soon. Mike and I were planning to drive down to Pennsylvania the day after tomorrow. You'll come visit? Of course. I'll make my famous apple pie, and those cinnamon rolls, and those chocolate chip cookies. Which ones does your Mike like? Him? Can't you tell? Any and all, and lots of them. Emily laughed. Come soon, invited Granny Dear. Sadly, they never got to meet. When Emily and Mike arrived, there was an ambulance by the house, next to a crying neighbor. Emily, honey, how did you know? Know what? Emily felt scared. Your grandmother. She had a stroke this morning. They called 911, then had to call another unit. They couldn't save her. They say it was just her time, the neighbor cried. Granny Dear's house smelled of medications. On the kitchen counter stood a bowl with pie dough. Abandoned, it had already started to overrise. Next to it, under a cloth, prepared filling. Granny Dear had been waiting for her granddaughter. She didn't make it, just a few hours. Emily tried calling her mom, but apparently, she'd changed her number. Sarah didn't answer either. Only Emily, Mike, and the neighbors attended Granny Dear's funeral. Emily and Mike returned home feeling empty, but the biggest shock was yet to come. Sweetie, try not to get too upset, Carol said with a trembling voice and handed her an envelope. What is it? Emily asked in a hollow voice. It's a letter from Granny Dear. She mailed it the day before. Inside was a copy of a will and her grandmother's confession. Emily learned the terrible truth. The woman she thought was her mother was actually her aunt. Her real mother had died when Emily was 3, and her aunt, driven by jealousy of her deceased sister, had married Emily's father. A month later, Emily found out she was pregnant. And just a week after that came the news. Her aunt and Sarah had died in a car accident. They were on their way to sign papers for selling the house. Now Emily has twins, a boy and a girl. The boy is named after her father, and the girl is Rose, in memory of Granny Dear. Every Sunday the whole family visits the cemetery, first Granny Dear, then her father, and now her aunt and Sarah too. Emily has long forgiven them all, because Granny Dear taught her the most important lesson. Love is stronger than hurt and betrayal. Thanks for sticking around for this story. If you liked it, smash that like button. Drop your thoughts in the comments, and hit subscribe to catch more stories like this one. Hope your day is awesome.